The meeting of the Plaquemines Council as the sole governing authority of the Plaquemines Port, Harbor, and Terminal District is now called to order. The machines are open for roll call. Ms. McCarty. Roll call. Let the record state that all 9 commissioners are present, with none. All right, I'd like to thank everyone for attending, and anybody who just joined the meeting, please make sure your cell phones are turned off. I'd like to begin with the first item on the agenda. Kim?
This was all mine.
Good evening, esteemed commissioners. I appreciate the opportunity once again to present the port's priorities. I'd like to lead off with our renewed vision that's in our master plan, which is to be the leading U.S. international gateway port in the Gulf of Mexico. And the master plan and the executive summary that's in you guys' hands now is indeed serving as cornerstone for the port's strategic planning and growth. They encapsulates the collective vision of the port's future and are instrumental in guiding the decision-making processes. The importance of these documents in aligning with the port's long-term objectives cannot be overstated. There is a third excerpt from the master plan that will be coming out. It is the capital improvement plan, and that will be coming out on Monday. And that small document will actually be a summary of all of the capital projects that we have. I think there's a total of 17 capital projects. And those capital projects not only focus on the port's growth, but it aligns us with the economic development opportunities within the parish, as well as with Jefferson Parish. With that, what I'd like to do is just be brief on the rest of my report, but I'd like to stop here. Obviously, this is Ms. Melissa Falls' last meeting here, with the port. She is going to be missed, and I wanted to at least give her an opportunity to say a few words, so I'll turn it over to her at this time.
Thank you. I just want to say this almost 2 years has been an incredible experience, and I appreciate all the support and the opportunity that the council has provided me. And this is, if you guys ever need anything, I'm always here. But this has been an incredible experience, and I really want to thank you for this opportunity.
And then I'd also like to say tomorrow is actually Miss Jennifer Roth's last day with the port as well. She is going to be missed. Both Ms. Falls and Ms. Roth have done a tremendous job here over the last year or so in really, pushing the agenda for the commission meeting. So they will be missed. That said, I turn the floor back over to you.
Thank you. And before we do that, before we move on with business, I know we have had a long meeting so far, but I'd like to start off by saying I feel honored to have worked with Melissa for these past 2 years. Not only did I get to meet a professional that knows a lot more about ports than I do, and certainly a lot more about the legal field, but I made a good friend, and I feel very blessed with that. It's not often that you're able to work with somebody and consider them a real friend. We all have acquaintances, we all have co-workers, but I feel it's more than that. And she's something special. I know she's going to do great things. I know that Jennifer is going to move on too, and that's one of the things that I don't look at this as being a setback for us. I look at this as a step forward for both of them, because you always want your friends to improve and move up in their life and have great things happen. I want to stay in contact with you. I'm keeping your number. And again, I appreciate all that you've done, all that you've taught me, and I definitely appreciate your patience, because I know I wore you out with a lot of questions and didn't know squat about this, and you definitely got us ready. And so thank you very much. And open up the floor to any of our other commissioners who'd like to speak. Ms. McCarty.
Ms. Falls, I just wanted to say it's been a pleasure to work with you. You're a very pleasant person, always even-keeled in your personality, and I know that you will go for you're studious, you're very conscientious about what you do. So I just wanted to thank you for coming to fill in the position when the previous council needed somebody. And for Ms. Roth, I wanted to mention that I found her to be very professional and very competent in all of the work that she did. So I wish her well as well.
Commissioner Gui?
I'd like to also say to Jennifer, and I told her this this week. She was quite an asset to the legal department and to the port because she made sure things got written appropriately, they were distributed appropriately, and that the information that needed to be discussed was always put on our agenda. And she's going to be missed. I know she has another job opportunity, and I wish her well. And as far as you, I know our beginnings started out, and it was in the midst of turmoil. We were at the point of making major changes in the port administration. And you came in and you helped us to keep that together until he came along, and which I'm really happy you came along too, sir. But you kind of kept him in line. I've been in many meetings where you straightened him out when he needed to be straightened out, and I appreciate that. I know you and your family, I know that you've had to make some sacrifices to be here for so long, but you'd never know that you were making sacrifices because you were always professional and got the job done. And I hope that in the future we have an opportunity to see each other in a professional way. And and I know you'll keep an eye on my son for me. And if you see him get out of line, you have my cell number. We're going to miss you. We're really going to miss you. Thank you.
Commissioner Edwards?
Yeah, I wish you the best in your endeavor. I'm glad the opportunity to know you. I have to tell my wife she don't know nothing about you, but she thinks she know more about you than anybody. I mean, she has a lot of love for you, and I wish you the very best. And thank you for your service to the parish. They say you came in on some unusual circumstances, and you came some turmoil, and you're leaving in turmoil. So I hope where you're going would not be any turmoil.
Commissioner LaFrance?
Yes, it has been truly an honor and a pleasure working with you. Pleasure looking over there and seeing a pretty face, a pretty smile.
Now.
Oh, don't get jealous now. Don't get jealous. Don't get jealous, Patty.
What about Mitch?
If people don't see the value of having you here, don't try to convince them. Don't try to convince them. Our Pat didn't meet just for any reason. It was God planned for you to be there. We needed you there, and we still need you there, but things happen for a reason. But always remember, when one door closes, God opens a bigger door. God is not the author of confusion. He's not the author of confusion. And I'm glad you know your worth. I'm glad you know your worth. And sometimes people's true colors come out when they don't get what they want from you. And it's sad. It's a sad day for Plaquemine Parish and Plaquemine Parish Port to see you go. I wish you all the best. And always remember, you got to do what you got to do for you and your family. May God bless you and wish you all the luck in the future.
Commissioner Jurisic?
Yes, Melissa, it's been a pleasure to get to know you. We've been through a lot and everything. You've always been very kind, friendly, and everything. But just remember, I'm still going to be your neighbor. So we're gonna go to Samuels. We got to go to Mike Anderson's. I'm gonna hold myself to that. So hopefully, when we in the neighborhood, we'll meet up and catch up on things. And good luck to you here.
Commissioner Koknovich?
Like to wish you luck where you're going. It was a pleasure working with you, getting to know you. I know we'll miss you. You came in, like Dr. Gouy said, in a turmoil. You started out as the attorney, then we gave you the assistant port director too, and you did a great job. And if you ever need anything, you have my phone number. Thank you.
Charles, do you have anything else from the port staff?
Nope, we can go ahead and go forward.
All right, Ken, before we move on, I'd like to go over the items. First of all, we're going to withdraw item 6B for obvious reasons. Ms. Foles is moving on to greener pastures. 6B, B as in boy. We're going to defer 6C, 6D, 6E, 6F, and 6Q. Does anybody need me to repeat that? All right, I'll say again, we'll withdraw 6B, and we will defer the following items: 6C, 6D, 6E, 6F, and 6Q. All right, Kim, next item on the agenda, please.
4, bids and advertisements, there are none. 5, introduction of ordinances and resolutions.
We have several, all for Commissioner Champagne. An ordinance authorizing Charles Tillotson, Executive Director of the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District, to purchase land owned by Reynald P. Thompson and Maja F. Thompson, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance authorizing Charles Tillotson, Executive Director of the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District, to purchase land owned by Danny K. Fisher and Linda R. Fisher, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to amend the 2024 Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District Operating Expenditure Budget, Land Acquisition Division, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. A resolution authorizing the Executive Director of the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District to extend the current agreement for professional service with Dwyer Cambrian Suffern to assist the port with land acquisitions and provide legal services, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance authorizing the Executive Director, Charles D. Tillotson of the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District, to enter into a 6-month professional services contract with Glow Resources to assist in staffing maritime positions, including but not limited to ferry captains, as deemed necessary by the port. Both parties will have the option to consider one 6-month contract extension, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance authorizing Executive Director Charles D. Tillotson of the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District to enter into a 12-month professional services agreement with Rockwood Steel to provide grant administration services, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. A resolution authorizing the Executive Director of the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District to introduce and implement the master plan as a foundation for strategic planning to secure the port's competitive edge and operational excellence, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to amend the 5-year capital improvements plan, Corps of Engineers Baptiste Collette Dredging Design Project, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. And finally, a resolution authorizing Charles Tillotson, Executive Director of the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District, to enter, is this the one? The suspension? Okay. And that's it.
Next item, please.
6, ordinances and resolutions on second reading and final passage. We're going to go to 6G. A resolution authorizing and directing the Port Executive Director, Charles Tillotson, to enter into and execute a cooperative endeavor agreement between the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District and the Regional Transit Authority, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Commissioner Champagne.
I offer and ask for a second. Seconded by Commissioner Kognovich, I don't know, core or something. And just quickly, this is, as the digest states, this is to go into the cooperative agreement with RTA to rent to do a bareboat charter with one of our ferries to them while their ferry's being repaired. And we're just being good stewards and partners with them, helping take care of moving people back and forth across the river. I think it's an opportunity for us to show a cooperative effort with these folks to keep transportation flowing. One of the things we are going to do, and Mr. Tillotson, we need some clarification that you were going to make sure that we had an exit clause in that in case we had an emergency.
That is correct. We do have an exit clause, and they are covering 100% of the costs.
And just for clarification, the cost on this will be $5,000 per month for the use of the ferry. Have any comments from the floor? From the Port Commission?
No, so the vessel will be the Belle Chase 2.
And Commissioner Edwards?
Yeah, when we met, did you get together to talk about the recommendation you made? We have a meeting if we have the emergency.
That's correct. That clause is in the agreement, and they will be paying all of the charges as well. And I think I should also clarify that in the agreement, we are also ensuring that the vessel is back here on no later than August the 28th, because in September, the MV Plaquemines Pride actually goes in for her shipyard service. So we need to have that vessel back.
Any other comments from the table? Machines are open. And the ordinance passes 9-0. Next item.
H, an ordinance authorizing the Executive Director of the Port, Charles Tillotson, to provide funding from Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District for a collaborative market study with the 4 other deepwater ports in Louisiana and to amend the 2024 Port Harbor and Terminal District operating expenditure budget and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Commissioner Champagne.
I offer and ask for a second. Second by Commissioner Kognovich. Director Tillotson, would you like to quickly touch on this and its importance?
Yes, this is the 5 deepwater port study. This is a study. It's a collaboration effort between the ports from Baton Rouge down to Plaquemines, and I think we've all, monitored some of the legislation that came down. Probably most notably is Representative Wright's House bill. Essentially, by us participating in this joint project, it just shows that, Plaquemines, we are a team player, and, we're also leading from the front. This is a joint market study, but, I mean, we have already completed our own market study last year, but it focused on our footprint here in Plaquemines. And, this collaborative effort is going to give us the opportunity to see the bigger picture.
Thank you. Do I have any comments from the floor? From the table, Commissioner Jurcic?
Yes, I see a figure of 88,425 here. I thought the original figure was 60-something thousand.
You're looking at the wrong thing.
I'm looking at the wrong, oh, okay.
No.
All right. Well, I'm good then.
Connie, why don't you loan him your glasses?
No.
Commissioner Schultz?
Yeah, my point from last time still stands. It's not even about the money per se, it's about the principle. But I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, so I'm just going to stick with that, and I yield.
Commissioner McCarty?
This is sort of a side comment to this. I was questioned today how I would feel if Plaquemines Port were to join forces with Orleans Port. And if anybody is out there wondering how I feel about that, it's absolutely not. So I don't want this to lead toward that. We've already done our master plan where the other 4 ports have not. And so I think we're participating in this just to not be thrown to the side. But I will never have any intention, especially at this time while we're developing, to have someone else run our port, because I think that we have our own best interest first. And somebody, I don't want seconds from some other port. I yield.
Commissioner Gui?
Yeah, I have to kind of tag along with Patty. We don't want anyone to tell us what to do. But if a study is going to be done, we want to be at the table so that we can have our input. And this is an opportunity to do that. We would be remiss to let the 4 other deep water ports run a study and us not being, having the ability to put the input to show our side. Of course, I think we're all biased, and we feel like our port is the site for any future container port development. And we'll have the opportunity to argue that with the study, and I'm sure the facts will hold true that we are an ideal location for many, many, many reasons. That doesn't take away the fact that politically we may not be as strong as some of the other ports, but we'll get our message made. But if we're not at the table, we would be doing all of us in Plaquemines Parish a disservice. So I'm hoping that we can all come together on this and be part of this study. I yield.
Commissioner Edwards?
Yeah, I agree with Commissioner Gui on the last part he said. I think we need to be at the table, but still maintain our independence, because you need to know what everybody's doing. To not to be there, they can gang up on us, so you need to be there, but still making sure that we keep our independence. So I suggest that we definitely stay at the table.
Commissioner LaFrance?
Yes, Mr. Champagne, I'm going to steal your thunder. I'm going to use your words like you said. Either we at the table or we going to be on the menu. So, and we can never have too much information. The more information we have, the better it is. I yield.
Thank you. And again, this is an opportunity to get in front of the other 4 deep water ports, tell our story, lead from the front, and offer mentorship and guidance and work together. Because I think that is where our states is lacking a bit. We don't collaborate enough, and I think we can collaborate and share ideas, good practices and bad practices, and still maintain our independence, but move Louisiana forward. Commissioner Schultz.
And again, I disagree because we've already done all of our stuff and released it to the public, so I find that we are leading from the front already. I yield.
Commissioner Newsom.
Just money's coming from general fund?
That is correct.
Any other comments from the table? Machines are open. Commissioner Jurisic. Let the record show that it passes 8 in favor, 1 against. Next item.
I, an ordinance authorizing Charles D. Tillotson, Executive Director of the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District, to issue task order number 1 for Lanier and Associates to provide engineering services associated with programming renovations and capital outlay support regarding the Popage Building, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Commissioner Champagne.
So offer. Ask for a second. Seconded by Commissioner LaFrance. And what this does is it gets Lanier to put together a plan. We know we've had the appraisal done on the building. We know what needs repairs, but we need to have a professional develop a plan on how to do it. It's going to be a phased approach, and they're going to sit down and put together a phased approach that has minimum impact on day-to-day operations, but gets the job done in an efficient manner. So that's the intent of this ordinance. Any comments from the Port Commission?
Yeah, I appreciate that, and I think our vision is to turn the Popage Building, into an icon. So we know that we have that opportunity in front of us, and so Lanier will help us along that path. So thank you.
Any comments from the floor? From the table, Commissioner Schultz.
Yeah, I thought all the repairs that we were planning on doing was coming from our general undesignated unreserved, but this says to write, administer, and manage the capital outlay requests is state. So are they writing us capital outlay, or are we putting money from our undesignated unreserved? I thought when we bought the Popage Building, we were under this understanding that a lot of that money was coming from our undesignated unreserved, but this says something completely different.
Yeah, that's correct, Commissioner Schultz. So what we're doing is we're looking at all of the alternatives. I mean, we could still take all of the money from the reserves. We could go through capital outlay. So what we're engaging Lanier to do is actually put us together a plan, and we're going to evaluate what our options are. I mean, we could also, put this under a revenue bond, but we're just putting our plan together, and all of this will happen under the 2025 budget. So we're just getting approval to go forward and start the planning process.
Commissioner Newsom? Yeah. Any other comments from the table? Machines are open. And it passes 9-0. Next item.
An ordinance to amend the 2024 manpower structure and operating expenditure budget and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Commissioner Champagne.
I offer and ask for a second. Seconded by Commissioner Edwards. I'm sorry. Board Director, would you like to touch on this?
Yes, this is for an HR manager. We obviously we lost our HR supervisor, and we are in need of a higher level skill set, and we need to advertise this and fill this position.
Thank you. Any comments from the floor? From the table, Commissioner Schultz?
Yep, so this is my understanding. This item and the next item is based on a Sloan Group report. I have asked for that report 5 times, 3 times the week preceding the last council meeting where we were supposed to vote on it, and I have yet to get it. So because of that, I can't support this just because I've asked for the underlying data and I have not received it. Not saying that the position is not needed, but I wanted to read the underlying data where all this support came from. So I yield.
Commissioner Newsom?
Yeah, this position will be a classified position?
It is a classified position. That is correct.
And, okay, I got the money situation. I understand. Thank you.
Commissioner Edwards?
Yeah, but you're not looking at using somebody in-house for this position, even though you.
We hope that we can fill it in-house. Our goal is to really try to grow the staff first. And so if that opportunity is there, that's definitely what we want to do. But we actually have to advertise, so there will be other qualified candidates that will likely apply.
Commissioner McCarty?
I wonder if we should, I know that this is important to move forward, but I wonder if we should defer it until Mr. Schultz is satisfied with the material that he's asking for? Okay.
And I'd like to speak to, I know there was an opportunity for all of us to attend an outbrief by the Sloan Group that clearly showed their methodology and how they came up with this, discussed in detail the strengths, weaknesses, areas that we needed to fill, and it was incumbent on all of us to attend, and there were multiple opportunities to attend that. So if some of us did not get the information and may have requested, I get it, but there were multiple ways to get that information.
When was this meeting, this invitation? What Sloan Group?
I don't know. Do I have the calendar in front of me? No, but I attended it. I think a number of us were there. There were 3 other we had other council members there, and we watched it. She briefed it to us. Yeah, it was a while back. Dad, you were there. I think you went to it. I know Commissioner Gui went to it.
It was at a Monday
At the
meeting.
port, yeah, you were there.
I was at a Monday meeting where all of us can't attend, of course.
It was in April.
Okay.
It was at a port meeting, of course, only 4 of us can attend. Of course.
Right, but
We
offered
said it-
opportunities.
Right.
Put it out there. When do you want to see it again? And whether or not we respond to that, I can't speak to that. I'm just saying there were opportunities to view it. I saw it.
What I would like to offer, Commissioner Schultz, is to set up a meeting with the Sloan Group, and we offer that presentation to yourself and anybody else that would like to see it. There was a presentation. There wasn't I can send you the presentation. Okay. Okay, we'll send you the presentation. Would you like for us to schedule a presentation? Okay. Okay.
Commissioner Edwards.
Yeah, and long story short, I would like to see the product, and I'm saying I wasn't aware of that report specifically around this position, so, but I would like to just see a copy of the report.
But based on what I'm hearing here, I recommend that we defer this, and within the next
No, I'm
2
not
weeks.
hearing nothing to defer. No, I didn't hear nothing.
Well, but, I don't want to say, we didn't have the opportunity to view this, officer. Now we're going to make a vote based on an emotional decision rather than a rational one, because this is important.
My decision, right, because I asked a question to the director, could you use an in-house person first? So this is not, because I don't have that report, it's not a rational decision for me to make on this issue.
All right. Any other questions from the table? We're not going to defer. The machines are open. Yep.
Okay.
And it passes 7 in favor, 1 abstention, and 1 against. Next item on the agenda.
Okay, an ordinance to amend the 2024 manpower structure and operate and expenditure budget and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Commissioner Champagne, and this has changes.
Please read them.
In the digest, we're removing project manager, and now it's director of projects. The same changes are being made throughout the ordinance on line 9, 18, 21, 29, and that is all.
I offer with changes and ask for a second. Seconded by Commissioner Kogovich. And we've discussed this ad nauseum for a while, recognizing that there is a need for someone to manage all the contractors and subcontractors that are doing multiple projects for the port. Someone needs to really focus on that. Currently, we have Mr. Brown doing the heavy lifting on this, along with his other job, and it's not affording him the opportunity to really focus on his primary job. So this will help us better organize. Yep, and also Mrs. Foltz was doing it as well, and she will be leaving from us. So, is there anything you want to add, Director, on this?
I think you covered it. Thank you.
Any comments from the floor? From the table, Commissioner Newsom?
Reed, this is an unclassified position, correct?
This is an unclassified
And
position
this person will report to
to me.
you as director.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the table? Commissioner Edwards?
Yeah, I'm not in favor of voting for this position as of now, because I would like to see a better organizational chart for the port as we move forward. So I'm not in favor of voting on this right now.
Any other comments from the table? Machines are open. And it passes 7 in favor, 1 against, and 1 abstention. Next item.
Al, an ordinance authorizing the executive director of the port, Charles Tillotson, to move forward with Phase 1 of the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District's rebranding campaign being facilitated by Palmer Advertising. Commissioner Champagne.
I offer and ask for a second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner LaFrance. Director, would you like to touch on this?
Yes, I mean, we're on the global stage now. We have, attention around the world. We have a great opportunity in front of us. We completed the master plan. We have a vision. We have a very clear mission. And this rebranding is the opportunity for us to show the world, where we are and what we're capable of doing, and then how we're going to continue to grow.
Any comments from the floor? From the table, Commissioner Newsom?
Thank you. Just for public knowledge, This is $75,000, so just for the public, because they don't get to see it, so this knows. And this is for phase one. Do you anticipate a phase two?
It is something that we're going to evaluate.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other comments from the table? Machines are open. And it passes 8 in favor, 1 against. Next item.
M, an ordinance to amend the 5-year capital improvements plan, water booster station project, and to authorize the executive director of the port, Charles Tillotson, to fund the temporary water booster station's monthly maintenance costs during the construction of a new water booster station for the parish of Plaquemines. Commissioner Champagne.
I offer and ask for a second. Seconded by Commissioner LaFrance. And what this allows us to assume the responsibility for funding that temporary water booster station to ensure that we get adequate pressure and fresh water and the ability to push it all the way down to Venice. This was being paid for by PPG, and that was funded through GOSEP. That funding has stopped, and the port has agreed to pick that up so we can continue that service. $36,000 a month. Anything?
No comments.
Anything? Any questions from the floor? From the table? Machines are open. And it passes 9-0. Next item.
N, an ordinance to amend the 5-year capital improvements plan, Point LaHash Ferry ramp repair project, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Commissioner Champagne, and this has a fill in the blank.
We're filling in the blanks on lines 16 and 27 with the amount of $4,800,000. $4,800,000.
I offer and ask for a second.
We have enough to fill in the blanks, don't we?
No. Oh, yeah, on section 1, Kim. It's the same number?
Yes, I read both of them.
Same number?
Yep. I offer and ask for a second. Second by Commissioner LaFrance. Director, do you want to touch on this briefly?
Yeah, this is a critical asset for us. I think most of us remember we looked at the possibility of only running one ferry in the parish, and we really assessed that for about 6 months. And one of the things that we determined was the Point LaHash ferry landing, as well as the Belle Chase ferry landing. It's just a way of life here in the parish, and we felt that it was imperative that we do whatever it takes to put it back in an operational condition. And then, in addition, 4 years from now, we have secured an $18.6 million grant to actually replace that structure. So it's a way of life, and we think it's important, and we appreciate everybody's support on this project.
Thank you. Any comments from the floor? Please state your name and your address.
Clarence Brooks, 156 Enos Campbell Lane. That's a lot of money that's going into the Point LaHash Ferry, and my opinion is it's not really for the community of District 1. We used the ferry, we needed the ferry, and we've been out of the ferry almost a year and a half now. But that ferry going to be used by the port and by the LNG plant to get over there on our side of the river. They got to fix the new roads, highways, and all that. A lot of traffic going to be over there. And our way of life is going to be affected. That's my opinion. That's a lot of money to put in for us to get something that we've been having all our days. And when we get it back again, it's going to be shared by big industry. So a lot of stuff going to be coming across that ferry. So it's going to be done not just for us to get to the hospital they got down the river that we use not that often, but we do use it. And also for the supermarket they have down there, we do use that, but we only use that for the first of the month. So it's hard for me to see that all this money being put in just for our welfare. That's what they be saying all the time. That's our way of life. We should have it back again. But I see that we're going to have a lot of stuff coming across that river. And I'm just actually, just only thing I can ask, don't forget us over there. Don't misuse us and abuse us. We are low income people over there. We don't have a whole lot of money, but that's our way of life. I've been down there for 69 years. And if Dr. Gouy move over a little bit that way, I'll be able to see 70 years the next month. That's good enough. I can see 70. So I want to stay down there. I don't want that ferry be the way of over there changing our lifestyle, because it could easily be done. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Brock. Let's get still more comments from the floor. Please state your name and address, sir.
My name is Chadwick Enkeley, 145 Lewis Lane, Point Lahash, Louisiana. Same like Papa, lifelong resident of the East Bank, but I see it differently. I mean, I see the ferry as a way of life, a way for me to reunite with my family that I haven't seen since the ferry broke. I do agree with him that the influx of vehicles and everything else that will come across, I mean, we have a small 2-lane highway, so I think we need to spend some time looking into, like the influx of cars, how we're going to get that through, how we're going to manage those getting onto the back highway and going up. But I see this as something that I need. I mean, I've got an uncle that's in his 90s that I don't get to see as often as I used to, because I would have to go all the way to Bell Chase, go all the way back down to Port Self, and then come all the way back around. Yeah, so I'm ready for it. But like you said, we do have to keep the residents in mind, and like our community is a small community, and maybe limit the amount of the type of vehicles that come across the ferry, right? And not the big trucks, stuff like that, just passenger vehicles and stuff like that come along. The other thing I see that will be required is probably more police officers, right? So you can have more vehicles, more speeding, more, like I said, more traffic. So maybe increasing the police profile on our side of the river as well. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments from the floor? From the table, Commissioner LaFrance?
Yes, I'm going to say this. I see this totally different than you, Mr. Brock. You hear people complain. We need that ferry. We need that ferry. But that ferry is not only for the people on the East Bank. That ferry is for the people on the West Bank. We utilize that ferry. It's a very integral part of our transportation. The people from Boothville, the people from Beers, from Port Selfo, we use that ferry especially to come to this courthouse. And it's very important that we put that ferry there, because if you don't put that ferry there, if you don't renovate it, you know what next is coming. You understand what I'm saying? They want to move that courthouse. You know what next is coming. So it's but we utilize that ferry a lot. But also the people from over there, they can be able to easily come over and get a job and work for Venture Global. So you just can't look at it one way. You got to look at the whole picture. We need that ferry. We need that ferry. You hear the people say, if something happened at that plant, we need that ferry. It's very important. I yield.
Commissioner Edwards.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with everything they're saying about the size of it, but the real issue is that the money is the issue that's on the table, and this money here is definitely needed. It's not that it's too much for it, but it's needed, and so I'm 100% in agreement with us agreeing to this amount of money, because that's what it's going to take in order to get this ferry operating right. But everything else everybody say, I'm in total agreement. But I want to make sure that I'm totally in agreement for this price that's here, because not to do it, then we'd have a problem of not getting the kind of ferry that you all are just talking about right now that will deal with the size and the capacity of what we need. So I just want to go on record saying I highly support the amount of money that's in this budget.
Thank you. Commissioner Gouy.
Earlier today, we had discussions and conversations about what if the water comes up between Phoenix and White Ditch. Can't go on the levee. They don't have rocks on the levee. You got to have this ferry. you got to have this ferry because you know that water's going to come up. It's just a matter of when. How long it's going to be there? It's going to be there too long. The Phoenix to Bohemia area will be cut off completely from the world without this ferry. So I ask my fellow commissioners to support this 100%.
Commissioner Schultz?
Yes, it really doesn't have anything to do with the dollar amount, but are we still on track for January 2025
That is
for
correct.
opening? Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
All right, the last thing I'll add is, it is expensive, but I will tell you that one of the things that all of us made clear to the director was that this thing had to be first class. We were not going to put lipstick on a pig. For too long, they've been doing patchwork, and that's why we're in the situation we're in. So it's expensive to do it right, but you can end up with a first-class product that's going to last us a long time, and we still have the new ferry landing coming that's going to be better than this one, because this whole community, both East and West Bank, deserves first-class transportation system. So machines are open. And it passes 9-0. Next item.
An ordinance to implement a dollar toll to all non-Plaquemines Parish residents for the use of the ferries operated by the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District, and otherwise to provide with respect to Commissioner Champagne, and this has changes.
Please read the changes.
On lines 1, 5, 17, and 31, the number has been changed from $1 to $2. And there's a fill in a blank with it on line 31 also. It's going to become effective June 17th, 2024.
Okay, I think it's pretty self-explanatory that we're going to be tolling non-residents $2, residents no thing. And I offer, I'm remiss, I offer with changes and ask for a second. Second by Commissioner Edwards. Any comments from the floor? From the table? Commissioner, any comments from the table? Commissioner Jurisic?
Yes, I just look at this, we're targeting a certain group of people, non-residents. I don't want to see this slow the ferry system down because now we got to check IDs, we got to be sure that they're non-residents, and I think it's going to give us a lot of grief at the ferry ramps. And, right now, we already have some grief there because we're down to one ferry. We leasing the boat out to Chalmette now, so that should decrease some of that traffic. So I'm against, if you're going to do a toll, do it for everybody. Don't just single out somebody. You want to talk, I just can't see it as being right to do it one way, and we don't get that. We get a privilege, but they other people don't. They may be coming to do business in this parish. They may be serving this parish, but they're from out the parish and they're going to get tolled. And you already know the trouble we have with tolls on bridges and stuff like that. So I'm against any tolls right now. That's the way I yield.
Commissioner Schultz?
Yes, I have a couple of things. First, if this does pass, we need to put out social media everywhere to let everybody know that this will be coming effective June 17th, where nobody's thrown for surprises. My next question is, if somebody's driving and a resident is in the car, does that constitute, or does it have to be the driver that is a resident? And who makes that call?
We will verify that, but the guidance that we're giving out is that we're not going to get in conflict over situations like that. So if a resident is in the car and they have their ID, then they will be allowed to go.
And my last question, which kind of just popped in my brain while we were talking, but we're saying we're going to charge $2 because that's what Chalmette charges, and we waived the tolls because of the Point LaHashe ferry inconvenience and all that. What is the plan once the Point LaHashe ferry comes back? Are we going to go back to charging a toll, and at what rate? Or what is the plan? Because I want to make sure that we're not going to charge $2 to residents come that time, because and then how, I'm just thinking future, but something to start thinking about where we're not getting into, okay, this car is $2, this car $1, how we're going to handle that at the time, because I don't think anybody on the East Bank wants to pay more than $1. I know Mr. Brock at the last meeting was saying how people are on limited income, so we need to make sure we're planning for that. I yield.
Yeah, thank you, and that's a very good point, and I can tell you throughout the construction process, we are going to have monthly meetings, and I do believe that the resolution that was passed suspended the fee until it was reopened. So I think, once it reopens, we can revisit that, but I don't see any reason to raise the rate. But we will sit down and talk with each councilman and any community members that want to have some input on it.
Commissioner Newsom?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This was put together when the Chalmette Ferry was going to be out of service, and we were talking, and in the beginning, it was said that, the boat situation wouldn't work out, but previous legislation we just passed eliminates that burden. They're going to have one of our boats using and charge. So I really, this was drafted and brought up due to the fact of the burden of the Chalmette Ferry being out, which that's not the issue anymore. I see, as I think Mr. Jerry spoke, this is going to be for lack of better terms, a problem. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Commissioner Edwards?
Yeah, I don't see as much as a problem because my understanding, Charles, that we was going to have stickers for people. You was going to have it where you get on the internet, put that out there. And I know I've been telling people about this happening. I had several people when I first came up to things to suspending the toll. One of the things they told me is that, what about all the folks from Chalmette that are going to be coming in here and doing it? So part of my reason is that help us recoup some revenue that you're saying that was a problem with. But I don't see it as being a hardship on the ferry deckhand to really do this because Chalmette did it and there wasn't no problem. It's just.
Commissioner McCarty?
I wanted to mention that I made the request at our Monday meeting that the port put up a large sign, a very large sign, giving instructions to people so that they can understand what's going to happen before they get up to the ferry ramp. And I am in favor of the toll just because I don't want to see Plaquemines Parish taken advantage of by people from other parishes, and then our citizens may not get on the ferry because it's free, and a lot of people from Chalmette are coming to Rush to get on the ferry. So that's why I'm going to vote in favor of this. Thank you.
Commissioner Gui?
Yeah, I don't know about the impact. I don't think anybody knows about the impact, but I can envision an impact. It's true that the Chalmette Ferry will be open, but just for argument's sake, how many vehicles did the Chalmette Ferry carry on each load before it went in the dock? How many vehicles was that?
I'd have to get that number.
Okay, a bunch, right?
It was a bunch.
It was as big as the Pride?
Yes. No, it's not as big as the Pride.
Okay. And the one that we're giving them is a little P-road, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. So if people are going to try to avoid and drive all the way down here to save $2, have them drive down and charge them $2. We won't see what's going to happen until it happens. So on this, just vote the way you feel you need to vote, and we'll deal with it. And as far as what's going to happen later, we have to make that decision as a council. As a group, we decide to take the tolls off. As a group, we got to decide if we're going to ever put them back on or not. Just like today, we have to decide if we're going to put $2 toll for non-residents. It's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a real challenge. But what's the obstacle, you always say? The obstacle's the way? Well, but brother, this is an obstacle. We have to really work at it. And I know your staff has been preparing for this and going through all the scenarios in your mind, and we'll see how well we do. But we just got to decide what to do on it.
Okay.
And just for the sake of consistency, I felt that we should have dropped the tolls last time because I think there is always a cost in providing a service. I respect what my fellow commissioner said about dropping the tolls because we weren't providing 100% of the service. But in this case, we could potentially bear the burden, as Dr. Gui said, of them making a choice between paying somewhere, waiting in line, or coming somewhere for free. I think it's human nature to be drawn to free. So I am in favor of the toll. So barring any other comments from the table, machines are open. And it passes 7 in favor, 2 against. Next item.
An ordinance to amend the Plaquemines Port Harbor Terminal District 5-year capital improvements plan, water booster station project, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Commissioner Champagne.
I offer and ask for a second. Commissioner Tillotson, would you like to touch on this?
Yeah, this is just moving funds from the fund balance to fund the balance of the water booster project. If everyone remembers, we actually received an $18 million deal, Port Priority Funding, DOTD grant, and we receive up to $5 million a year. We are at $9 million that we've received, but we need to finish that project by the end of this year. So we need to go ahead and make sure that we put the funds there to commit Phase 2 and Phase 3 with this additional funding, and we will recoup this funding over the next 2 to 3 years from DOTD. And we have the option, and we are meeting with a bond attorney next week, of rolling this into a revenue bond and actually, putting this money back in the fund balance and running this under a revenue bond where the revenue that's guaranteed from DOTD will actually pay for that bond.
Thank you. Any comments from the floor? From the table, Commissioner McCarty?
I just want to mention that I believe that to people that I believe a revenue bond is being floated because having more money in our general fund allows us to receive better chances of getting grants, and it just shows that we're being responsible. So thank you.
Any other comments from the table? Machines are open. It passes 9-0. Next item.
R, a resolution authorizing and directing the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District Executive Director Charles D. Tillotson to enter into a lease option agreement for approximately 584 acres of real property shown in Exhibit A located in Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, Venture Global, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Commissioner Champagne.
So offer and ask for a second. Second by Commissioner Kognovich. Again, Director Tillotson, would you like to expand on this?
Yeah, this is the Venture Global lease of the residual land that's falling under what we refer to as Piano Keys. We've been working on this for over 7 or 8 months now, and this is just the next step in furthering, our progress with Venture Global.
Thank you. Any comments from the floor? From the table, Commissioner Jurisic.
Yes, so they ready to sign this?
They are ready to sign.
So we're not going to hold on to this for 3 or 4 months waiting
No,
for it?
they are ready to sign. I spoke with them today. So.
And it's a term is what, 2 years?
I'd have to verify the exact terms, but there's one term as we're continuing to purchase the land and rezone the land, and then we go to another term. So it just really depends on how fast we get it done.
So is this going to hinge too also on securing all the property?
It is definitely tied to us securing all of the property. But the way that agreement is written, any property that we have ownership of today is part of that lease. Anything that we take ownership of tomorrow would be rolled in to that lease.
And is it
And there's two properties that are still out there to be completed.
Right. I mean, that's not going to stop them from holding off on this lease?
Not at all. I had a conversation with Venture Global this morning, and they're ready.
I yield.
Any other comments from the table? Machines are open. And the resolution passes 9-0. Next item.
A resolution authorizing the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District to enter into an agreement with the State of Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development for the transfer of funds legislatively appropriated under 447 of the 2023 regular session of the Louisiana Legislature and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Commissioner Champagne.
Offer and ask for a second. Second from Commissioner Cognovich. You're whispering, you're getting fatigued. Commissioner Tillotson, Director Tillotson, would you like to comment on this?
Yeah, this is grant funding actually for a drone program that will be funded by DOTD.
And just the drones will be managed by the port security
By
vessels.
port security vessels,
And
that's
DOTD
correct.
will be doing the training as well.
That's correct.
How much is it? Do we know how much it is?
What they're paying for it. DOT, I don't know them. Do you have the grant amount? on this?
I thought it was somewhere around $400,000, but I'll confirm that amount.
They did say.
That's right, you're right.
Any comments from the floor? From the table? Machines are open. It passes 9-0. Next item.
A resolution authorizing Charles D. Tillotson, Executive Director of the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District, to enter into a professional service agreement for the purposes of engineering and design services with LADOTD and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Commissioner Champagne.
I offer and ask for a second. Second from Commissioner Newsom. And this is basically moving funding from LADOTD to fund the dry docking of the Pride and do its repairs. Any comments from the floor, from the table? Machines are open. And it passes 9-0. Next item, we'll move on to item 7A1 for suspension. And I'm asking to suspend the rules on this so we can move forward on this. So first of all, this is going to be for us to suspend the rules to bring this up for a vote. At that point, if it does get approved, I will hand over the gavel to Commissioner McCarvey.
A resolution authorizing Charles Tillotson, Executive Director of the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District, to enter into a construction contract with Deep South Construction and Salvage to repair the Point LaHash ferry landings and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
Offered by Commissioner Cognovich. Can I get a second? Commissioner Edwards. All right. This is to get it on the agenda if we're doing full suspension. Machines open. And it passes 9-0. Yield again, Commissioner McCarty.
A
Oh, I'm sorry. You got it.
three of them.
Now we offer for the actual vote. Oh, for the suspension, I'm sorry.
A resolution authorizing Charles Tillotson, Executive Director of Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District, to enter into a construction contract with Deep South Construction and Salvage to repair the Point LaHash ferry landings and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
Sorry. I'll just say Cognovich, and who wants the second?
France.
The France second. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I know. I've almost voted.
She's so excited.
No, I'm just like, okay. It passes 8 with 1 non-voting.
A resolution authorizing Charles Tillotson, Executive Director of the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District, to enter into a construction contract with Deep South Construction and Salvage to repair the Point LaHash ferry landings and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
I offer and ask for a second. Second from Mr. Cognovich. Okay. The Director, do you have any comments?
No comments.
The audience? And the table. It passes 8 to 1 non-voting. Mr. Champagne.
Agenda item 8, approval of the May 9th, 2024 and May 23rd, 2024 regular meeting minutes.
Offered by the France, second by who? Mr. Newsom.
Any questions? Any questions?
I got to stop moving chairs.
Any questions?
Any questions from the floor and the table? Let's move. I believe now we're going to go to executive session. Is that correct? Okay. So we're going to we're going to adjourn. We have to vote to go to, motion to go to executive session. Second by Mr. Gui, Dr. Gui. It passes 8-0. Mr. Champagne's not available. And we're going to go to executive session at 7:38.
Hit the gavel.
Thank you.
24, with having taken no final or binding action, will now return to the next item on the agenda. Kim's giving it up.
Introduction of ordinances and resolutions.
A resolution authorizing the executive director of the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District, Charles Tillotson, to move forward with continuing legal efforts in securing the property owned by Mr. Tuan Nguyen and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. That's it.
That's it? Do I have a motion to adjourn? Motion by anyone? Bueller. Commissioner Schultz, do I have a second? It's unanimous.
We got to vote.
Vote. Oh, Edwards is going to say no.
Councilmember McCarthy, Councilmember Gui, Councilmember Edwards. Yeah, I'm ending.
And motion passes 7 yes, 2 not voting. Let the record say the meeting ended at 8:30.